Welcome to 6 o'clock news. I'm Corey Smeagol.
And I'm Yakuba Sidibe.
If you aren't aware, this week we'll be covering the topic of genocide. And first, we'll be covering a story that took place in Bosnia.
Bosnia is a small country located east of Italy and north of Greece that lost over 100,000 people during the years of 1992 to 1995, being the largest massacre in Europe since the Holocaust.
Genocide was committed in Bosnia through the following ways: the killing of over 200,000 lives, and the cause of serious bodily or mental harm by means of concentration camps, mass executions, and rapes. Also, there was a physical impact on the people when the Serbs prevented entry of aid to cities like Srebrenica, where residents needed many services.
During the genocide, men and women were separated to be killed and raped, respectively. Serb forces impregnated Muslim women to make them have Serb children. Since the rape babies didn't exist in the eyes of the law, the children of rape victims were separated from their mothers, most growing up as orphans.
Throughout the Bosnian genocide, the Serb forces shelled the town from the surrounding countryside, destroying buildings and killing civilians, and soon they made their way closer to the town.
The following footage you're about to see is from July of 1995, when reporters from our very own station headed to Bosnia to interview victims of the genocide.
In a field of tears, their memories of terror and death come pouring out. My family, she says. Why didn't they kill me, she is asking. Why didn't they kill me? The UN, he says, they did absolutely nothing.
Wow, it's really honestly shameful watching a video like that and realizing that we didn't do anything. The United Nations didn't do anything, as the man stated at the end. You know, I think about where we are today and the lives that we live and how we go out with our families on the weekend, and you question yourself as to where you were last night, and then you look at how these people had to live each night, falling asleep and realizing that in the morning they might not be with their families anymore. It's very heartbreaking.
Yes, and it's very difficult to believe that our government really didn't do anything until the end. I mean, we have the lady in the beginning of the video pleading about how she misses her family, and we have the old lady crying, sobbing because she wishes she was dead. She has nothing else to look forward to because of what happened. And it honestly really is tragic. And I think our government and our nation, not even just our nation, the world as a whole, needs to do something about genocide because it's a reoccurring issue.
Mm-hmm.
Warrant Officer Wim Dijkema belonged to that Dutch battalion, which was sent to Srebrenica to stop an attack on the town.
We came there with a will to do as much as we could do, but we failed.
Then Mladic assures the refugees they will be taken to safety, and in fact, the women and children were bussed across the front line and dumped in safe territory. The men, thousands of them, were bussed to neighboring Serb villages, lined up, and shot. Hidden from the Serbs, Wim Dijkema was documenting the first stages of genocide.
The acts of genocide are categorized by 8 important stages. The first stage was classification, where many people joined nationalistic political parties out of fear and memory of the war in 1945. The second stage was symbolization. Bosnia had a law banning nationalistic symbols like the crescent moon and star, but after Yugoslavia fell apart, there was no way of controlling that.
The third stage of genocide in Bosnia was dehumanization, where hate speeches were popular, especially by means of news networks, along with opposition of ethnic groups. The fourth stage falls under organization, where it was noted that the Serbs' tactic of fighting was the same for each city they invaded. The attacks were pre-planned and highly organized.
The fifth stage, polarization, refers to laws that may forbid intermarriage or social interaction. In genocide, the Bosnians lacked strong political figures who could organize people behind them in a unifying and moderate way. The sixth stage of genocide is preparation, which speaks on how victims are segregated. Early on, international humanitarians didn't attempt to organize refugee camps which forcibly displaced Bosnians.
Stage 7, extermination, is the mass killing of dehumanized victims. The largest mass killing occurred in Srebrenica, with 8,000 deaths of men and boys. The Serbs had no trouble attacking, even with UN troops there. The last stage of genocide is denial, which is when the aggressor nation dig up graves and burn bodies as an attempt to cover up evidence of genocide. In Bosnia, graves were moved, making it difficult to identify bodies and prove that genocide had indeed occurred.
Warning: the images you are about to see are for mature audiences only. Viewer discretion is advised. The international community did little to prevent the acts committed against the Bosniaks and Croats in Bosnia. However, it did seek justice against those who were committing such violent acts. The United Nations Security Council created the ICTY, or the International Criminal Tribunal for the former Yugoslavia. This tribunal helped send the Bosnian Serb military commander, General Ratko Mladic, to prison for crimes against humanity.
Over the next 2 decades, the ICTY charged more than 160 individuals for crimes committed during genocide. In 2007, the International Court of Justice issued its ruling in a historic civil lawsuit brought by Bosnia against Serbia. The court claimed the massacre of Srebrenica a genocide. However, because the genocide ended soon enough, Serbia was innocent of committing genocide as a nation. The genocide in Bosnia, as a whole, took away 2% of Bosnia's total population. A mass amount of graves have been opened, discovering many bodies. Identification of the people is very low, with a few hundred names being given out of a total of 20,000 people listed as missing.
Bosnia has made little economic progress, considering more than half of its workers being unemployed, and foreign aid accounts for roughly 1/3 of the country's economic output. Hundreds of millions of dollars in economic aid have been spent to restore the economy since the genocide. And that's all we have for tonight, folks. I'm Corey Smeagol.
And I'm Yakuba Sidibe,
Signing off.